As we watch the Fixed Ops Roundtable right now, there are technicians in dealership who are recommending work to service advisors, and advisors in turn relaying that work to the consumer. Never before has there been a tool or a technology to help the affordability to help the advisor and give them more confidence in that process. There's a new tool sweeping North America today, and I'm very excited. It's the first time we've talked about it here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and I want to welcome the panel, starting with our good friend Curtis Nixon from UpdatePromise. Kurt, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you very much, Ted. I think back to how long we've been doing this, and back in Beverly Hills first days, and boy, you've come a long way. I'm really excited what we're going through today and what we've got going forward. So very, very excited about this.
And Kurt, I know you're going to be introducing Adrian and the panel in just a moment, but I got to say this, Kurt and UpdatePromise have been with the Fixed Ops Roundtable literally from the very beginning. They were the very first sponsor at our very first big event out in Los Angeles. And we have watched UpdatePromise grow. And, when we went through that time of COVID, Kurt, and I don't know if you recall, but we went into our first virtual event with a lot of uncertainty for the business. And I think we had no idea that the industry would be looking for best ideas and best practices. And Kurt, I want to thank you on behalf of the Fixed Ops community for all you've done to believe in us and in the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And Kurt Nixon, we could not have done it without you.
Well, thank you for continuing to include us. We feel privileged. And you brought up a point that, I was a little uncertain how it was going to work virtually. And you've set the new standard. And this show really shows it, where we've come from uncertainty to execution. I think it's one of the best forums to be able to pull together people that otherwise wouldn't be able to participate. So good job, Ted. We're pleased to be part of it.
And we're so honored to have you. Kurt, I know we got a dynamic panel, and I've been waiting a long time to have Adrian from Sunbit on the panel. So, Kurt, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce everybody, and I'm going to step out of the way.
Well, thank you again, Ted. So, yes, we're excited for today's event and talking about bringing finance to the service drive. And Adrian from Sunbit, thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have you and kind of talk about the partnership that UpdatePromise and Sunbit has come together and where it kind of came about. We also have Larry Boat from Norm Reeves Toyota in San Diego. Excited. Thank you, Larry, for spending time with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And then Chris, we've got you from Toyota of Downtown LA Motors. Did I pronounce it properly?
Yes, Toyota of Downtown LA.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. For joining us. All members of Fixed Ops Roundtable and participants, and we're excited today. So, Adrian, I'd like to circle back to you and talk about how did the relationship with Sunbit and UpdatePromise kind of come together and where we're headed. So, you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I think it just makes sense when you look at the simplicity of giving people options. What UpdatePromise really excels at is giving folks options for how they communicate, how they get the work done, giving them control, insight, and visibility into a lot of what's happening with their vehicle, making the experience just so much smoother, not just for the customer, but for all the folks working on the drive too. So with Sunbit, we're also giving people options for how they actually pay for the parts and services they need. Because at the end of the day, a lot of folks experience sticker shock. They have safety-related issues. A lot of variables come into play where people might just appreciate the option of splitting up their service bill into monthly payments. Service now, pay over time. So coming together with UpdatePromise just seems like the perfect fit. I mean, we are providing people these options at those communication touch points that matter most. When they're scheduling appointments, when they're actually arriving to drop off their vehicle and being greeted on the drive. And then with updates, stuff from the technician, updates on what's happening with the diag and all that fun stuff, ultimately to delivery and payment. But, just that simple thing of giving folks options.
I think you hit it on the nose, providing that option. Customers or consumers today, everywhere that they're buying online, it is part of that process of options of how do I want to pay, right? More and more consumers, first off, they want to have options to buy stuff online, to schedule online, as you mentioned, and to approve stuff, visualization, video. But that one extra element, as you pointed out, Adrian, is so important to give them those options. When they come in and expecting, what, I'm just going to get an oil change or what have you, to be able to have the option when it is discovered there's something else. So we're excited about the partnership coming together. Two technologies that have been phenomenally accepted by the industry, fairly new to the industry. To bridge together with a partnership like this is very exciting. But, as we go through that and we talk about that, our panel here today, Larry, Chris, I really appreciate you guys coming on, because, it really comes down to meeting the consumer's needs and the drive. So I would like to reach out to each of you and kind of talk a little bit about what you've already done. Larry, you use UpdatePromise in your drive today. You use Sunbit in the drive today, and I'm sure hearing them come together is exciting. But before we really go there, with your experience of offering finance in the service department, have you seen a difference in consumers' behavior? And is it more positive, more negative? What's your experience? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, we've had some experience in the past using other options, and the hardest thing to overcome is most of the time the customer would be denied or not accepted. So therefore, the service advisors, they don't want to deliver that type of news to a customer, so they're hesitant to use it. We started using Sunbit, and we have, I don't have the percentages, but it's a very high percentage of approvals and different options that the customer has. 0%, they can go 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, however you set it up. And the more people that are approved and the ease that it is for them to get the approval, they offer it all the time now. They offer it walking in the door saying, hey, by the way, we offer this. I have service advisors that use it to service their own cars. So I think the big thing is the fact that getting positive answers for customers, getting approvals, then they're more apt to use it because they're not delivering bad news. They're delivering good news. They're able to get the work done for the customer. They don't have to come back. You don't have to wait. And it's just been a fantastic option for us to overcome any other objectives that we might have had in the past.
Adrian, Larry brought up some good points on there.
Yeah.
What are some of the statistics? I know Larry said, he didn't have them right there, but what are some of the statistics you can speak to?
Oh yeah, I just pulled it up because as soon as he brought it up, I was like, I'm pulling up both their dealerships because we have that ability, and the dealerships also have this ability. This ability allows us to look at the numbers. So Larry, your dealership, since you guys launched with us, you're at 93.1% approval rate for everyone who's applying on Sunbit. And Chris, you're at 92.1%. And this is what we're seeing.
Hold on, Adrian. You're saying for every customer that applies for finance, what is the percentage of acceptance or approval?
So let's look at Toyota of downtown LA, Chris's dealership, right? They got all these people that have been applying on Sunbit. They just scan their ID on a tablet in a couple of seconds. 92.1% are getting approved. So 9 out of 10 people are given options with Sunbit technology. And we don't do hard credit checks. So even if you do get declined, it doesn't impact you at all. It doesn't hurt to check. And this is what Larry talks about. It's just gotten very easy for advisors to feel comfortable and confident offering it because so many people are getting approved. Now, if you look a little bit further at Chris's dealership, we're seeing that almost 70% of approvals convert to transactions, convert to closed CPROs on the drive. And the average CPRO at Sunbit right now at Chris's dealership is $830. And at Larry's, it's $806. So we're seeing two Toyota dealerships in different regions, ultimately seeing the same numbers. And this is what we see across the board, regardless of OEM and region, coast to coast. 9 out of 10 folks get approved, and 7 of those are convert to closed CPROs on the drive.
That's phenomenal. That's awesome. That's awesome. You brought up approvals. Chris, in using this, how are you able to take those approvals and implement them into your execution I mean, is it increasing your approvals for upsells or for what you're offering? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Curtis, I think Larry kind of hit the nail on the head. It really starts the whole transaction off on a positive experience. You know, it's an optional process. You know, we let the guests know we do have financing available, and it's really not a question of whether or not they can afford to do the repair. It's the flexibility of being able to pay over time. So whether it's 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, it takes the pressure off. It lowers the guests. You know, it drops their shoulders proverbially, and it starts the whole process off on a little bit more of a better foundation to build that relationship with the service advisor and really discuss the options that the vehicle needs and the things that they can wait on and what may come up in the next 6 months in order to prepare for what the future brings if they're choosing to keep the vehicle. So yes, the soft pre-approval just kind of sets the tone for the service experience, and it just makes it easier to engage in the conversation, and it lets the guests, you know, choose the decision that fits their needs the best.
Yeah, Chris, I think you hit on the nose, getting back to why they were there in the first place. Sometimes I think, as you mentioned, when financing or the ability to pay for what you're bringing in as a need is a distraction from the need itself, right? That financial pressure. So if you can eliminate that with high approval ratings, a simplistic process to execute, I can see where that would just transition that customer back to, why are you here? What are we getting taken care of for your vehicle? Hey, Larry, can you talk about process? How are you implementing the service financing into your team's process day to day?
Well, we have numerous ways now. We have it, it's tied into our appointment scheduler. So a customer can check pre-approve themselves while making an appointment. Also, we have it on our online tire store. So if a customer is looking at tires, they can pre-approve themselves for a set of tires, make an online appointment without calling the dealership. As well as on the service drive that we have, our iPads and service advisors are using it as a tool. If they come across something of why a customer doesn't want to have a certain job done, if it has to do with cost or wanting to wait for paychecks or what have you, they're able to pull that out and just say, hey, look, we can do it now and you can pay for it on your next check or what have you. And also turning it into future services. If a customer's ready to have service done later, that they're aware of it. I've had, I would say, at least 10 or 15 customers come back and say, hey, can I use it again? I need to have this work done now. And so they're starting to see it as a benefit and asking for it, which you never would have expected that based on our past experiences with other programs. So it's kind of from the appointment process to the write-up process that's available. We've got our ask us about financing on the doors as the customer's walking in, as well as at time of upsell for the service advisor.
Yeah, I can see that we're really beneficial and, again, take that pressure off. Adrian, Larry hit on something. Can you explain to us, he said if they don't use that financing option while they're there at the drive, it could prompt them to come back. Can you explain that? What does that mean? Help the audience understand that.
100%. So Sunbit technology just makes it easy for folks to split up their service bill into monthly payments. But when they're applying, they see their maximum approval amount, which for auto dealership partners goes all the way up to $10,000. So I might be showing up today for an oil change, and now I'm being faced with some unexpected recommendations by my advisor on the drive, and that's stressful. So then the advisor tells me, hey, by the way, you don't got to pay for all this today. In fact, you got your ID, I can show you, and then the Sunbit tablet app does the rest. Scan ID, a couple seconds, and I get approved for $9,000. I only need $1,000.
Right.
Whether I use it or not, there's still leftovers. I'm also a Sunbit customer. I've done 5 Sunbits over the years, and there was a point in time where I actually had 3 that overlapped. I had 3 different Sunbit transactions from different merchants for different local needs that I had. And customers have that flexibility. So let's say they don't use it today. Hey, that approval's locked in for 28 days. Come on back. I see express writers on the drive, even for smaller jobs, just showing people their approval amount to plant the seed for a future visit. How do you know that customer doesn't have a second vehicle at home they've been deferring work on? Right?
That's a good point, right? And
Yeah.
vehicle, right? You've got that one at home. I brought it in for oil change, as you pointed out, but then it's been weighing in the back of my mind. I really need to get, tires on my other vehicle. You can apply that same approval, not just for that RO or that vehicle, but it's individual specific, so they can use it for others.
Yes. And what Larry's team has figured out, and it's the same with Chris, the top dealerships, the top Sun Beasts, we call them, the top Sunbit users, they bring it up early and often. We're not waiting until it's time to pay to then spring the option on them, because it helps with their planning and budgeting up front. And when you think about what UpdatePromise is doing for folks and what Sunbit's doing for folks, it's alleviating stress.
Yeah, simplicity today is so important, and I agree, Adrian. And which really leads me into a question for you, Chris. You've got a busy dealership downtown LA, and you got a lot of activity. I've driven there, right? That drive is just phenomenal, right? How do you guys get anything done is really my thought. We're like, wow, it's chaos. So to take a tool like this and implement it, talk to us about how easy it was to adopt into such a chaotic space. I mean, if anybody can speak to that, I would think it would be chaos for you guys, right? So can you kind of talk to us about how easy is it? Hard? Is it a challenge? What's the training like?
It's that's a great question, Curtis. It's we moved into this location in 2017, and as you know, this dealership, for anyone who hasn't seen it or isn't familiar with it, it's a 5-story parking structure, and there's 40 bays downstairs, 2 alignment racks. We're working on expansion, but our service drive is a very high velocity operation. In other words, we don't have the liberty or the luxury of space like a lot of areas that have places 5, 6, 7 lanes wide to have vehicles sit for a period of time. So it has to happen pretty quickly. So from the time the customer drives up, our service writers are all on iPads now, and in the past we used the iPads that were provided by Sunbit. What really kind of accelerated us to the next level was integrating our entire write-up process into an iPad, for which Sunbit's application is very streamlined and so easy to use to just execute that soft credit check right there on the service drive with the customer at their car. Or if you've already tagged the car and it's moving through the process, you're able to just seamlessly offer that communication to the guest in a matter of seconds to get the answer and then move on. So it really doesn't slow down the process at all, and it's actually very user friendly. And like I said, in a matter of seconds, with the iPad wirelessly, we're able to offer that solution to the guests, and people just love the flexibility of it. It's really kind of taken hold here, and it's part of the process. We see a lot of repeat customers, and then they have their choice of what they want to use. They either use Sunbit. Some of them have the Toyota credit card. That's a fantastic option too, but it's not for everyone. So we have to find out what fits. And Sunbit has been an absolutely useful tool at our location because it's quick, easy. The approval numbers are fantastic, and it just gives the guests the flexibility to make it happen. So yeah, we love it.
Chris, I think you bring up a good point. More and more writers, some just handing them an iPad. Whoa, what is this, right? That's new and, a little bit of a challenge. Can't you just give me a piece of paper? I'll just do it quicker. But when we can start to incorporate, whether it's the write-up process with UpdatePromise or the approval process and with Sunbit, and that now becoming one and the same, all part of it, the more that we can give technology and tools that are simple for our writers. It's hard to get writers today, right? And to get them to adopt new technology, it's got to be a simple, easy, streamlined process. It doesn't add but it is a benefit to the riders to adopt it at that level. So that's exciting. And your drive, if you guys can do it at your drive, any drive can do it. I again, like you said, it's a unique environment down there and so busy. You guys are so successful, and a unique footprint to execute that is very impressive. It's just phenomenal, especially at the approval numbers that we're hearing. That's great. That's great. As we think about that and we talk a little bit further, Larry, you use UpdatePromise in the drive and you use Sunbit. How do you see the benefit of this partnership coming together and executing in a streamlined process? As you mentioned, it's on your tire program, it's there, it's on the scheduler. Embedding this into the rest of the consumer experience, you really see that the customers are going to enjoy that. Talk to us a little bit about what you foresee as being some of the simplicity, execution challenges. What do you see there?
Well, kind of like Chris was talking about, having the application process on the same iPad as the write-up iPad, so the service advisors don't have to look for it. They can utilize it at write-up. Benefits. Some of the other things is over the phone estimates. You're giving an estimate to customer, they can't afford it. My service advisors say, hey, let me send over the link for you. You can pre-approve yourself. Give me a call if you have any questions. And we're not even having to do it, that they're able to do it on their own. So I'm not really seeing any negative or challenges with it. I think as technology gets better, and we are now using iPads on the service drive, and we're sending customers MPIs electronically with the upsell recommendations. I think tying maybe a link to the MPI form that they get with the estimate when they click, approve or deny, that they can do that without having to ask us. They don't even have to tell us if they want to, use a credit card or use cash or check or Sunbit. It could just be done, and their privacy is protected more so that way. So I see nothing but benefits. I don't see any negatives coming in the future with technology and us being able to combine all this together.
I think you hit it on the nose. Our consumers in the past, this was new and exciting. Today's consumer, especially coming out of COVID and the digital customer, right? It's something they're expecting now. It's not really like, oh, this is something we can give you as a benefit. It's almost expected. You go to Amazon, you can see I can finance my Amazon purchase. So why can't I finance my service drive purchase? Really, the consumer of today has changed. We used to say they're changing. They've changed. And if we don't change with them, those are great points, Larry. You hit it right on the nose. Adrian, any other areas that you see that are coming forward in the future that you can speak about with either the partnership or Sunbit individually, and where is Fixed Ops going with this?
Giving people options is just where it starts. And what's exciting is COVID provided an opportunity for technology to really start changing things in a good way for folks. Like you said, buy now, pay later became this hugely popular option for online shopping. And now people are expecting it. With UpdatePromise, we've made it even easier to see and identify with those options on their own. So in addition to all the great customer touch points we have on the drive with advisors and cashiers and porters and all these folks who are helping people face to face, we also are leveraging technology to meet them where they want, which is maybe on their phone, maybe at home, to help expedite things for themselves or maybe just for added convenience. And hey, I use buy now, pay later for this other thing I bought online, and now I can use it for my car. That's pretty great. And for years, people didn't ask for something they don't know exists. Well, now it exists and they're asking for it. Larry and Chris, I'm actually kind of curious, since things have changed with buy now, pay later, I'm sure your advisors have maybe had an easier time talking about it now that it's more popular.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's part of everyday life. So it's just really easy to segue into that and not have wait for an answer or a no. You just say, hey, by the way, we have this option available, and allows the customer to make a decision based off of what the car needs as opposed to what they're able to do at that particular moment in time.
Yeah. And Kurt, back to your question about, where is this going? What can I share? Well, at Sunbit, of course, we want the dealership to do well and win. We want the customer to have options and win. But there's a big audience here, and those are the advisors, the people actually working on the drive, the cashiers, the porters, everyone who interacts with Sunbit, all these people who are trained and certified around the country to offer Sunbit. Really, what we're doing is doubling down on our investment in what we call the Sunbeast community. This is our way of recognizing and rewarding advisors all around the country for all the hard work they're doing. And we're getting tremendous feedback for this. A lot of folks appreciate Sunbit because they appreciate them. We're all about elevating the experience, not just for the customers, but for the folks on the front lines. So we have a Sunbeast app coming out soon to help with education, training, leaderboards, challenges, rewards, all this fun stuff. So the future is looking very bright, and with further integration with partners like UpdatePromise, we're helping to increase access to service on the drive to a broader spectrum of folks.
Adrian, would you mind if I come back to you for a moment?
Please.
Because I've been offline taking notes the whole time, right? And let me come back to those approval percentage numbers.
Yes.
Did you say 92.1% approval at Chris's dealership? By the way, Chris, how many technicians, how many advisors at your store, Chris?
So 44 technicians, 3 foremen, and 18 advisors.
And at Larry's store, did you say 93.1% approval, Adrian? Larry, tell us about your store again. Number of technicians and advisors.
I have 31 technicians and 9 service advisors.
So, Adrian, first of all, these numbers are incredible and spread across the number of, as you just said, technicians and service advisors, because I do think, Kurt, there is an audience here that, initially I was not aware of it. Adrian, you're right. It's the service advisors, because it's going to give them the confidence. Now, Adrian, in my dealership, if I have UpdatePromise, but I don't yet have Sunbit, or Kurt, vice versa, right? If I have Sunbit and I don't yet have UpdatePromise, is that something that you can help our audience with so that they can have the whole package?
And that's, Ted, that's the beauty of the partnership of the two companies coming together and embedding the integration and technology to become one, right? Not having to have 2 separate tablets,
right,
or one area over here, one area over there. Bringing the consumer experience with the technology of Sunbit and UpdatePromise embedded together. It's
wow.
A seamless process. To your point, making it easier for the writer, for the consumer, and soon to come, pickup and delivery. So a porter is going to pick up the vehicle. Wow. Get a sign off, they're picking it up. They've got the pad right there, and they can get approval right there on the drive or at their house. Or as they're delivering the vehicle to the customer and they're like, whoa, I gave approvals along the way, but I just didn't realize it all added up to $2,000, $3,000. Click here. We can get them approved right at that moment too. The unexpected happens. And I think the type of partnership that we're forming with Sunbit and UpdatePromise, when that unexpected happens, we're providing, to Adrian's point, a simple solution that doesn't create friction for the employee, for the writer, for the porter, or the consumer, most important. Make it easy for every stakeholder involved.
And Kurt, I could see, like Larry said, I could see the customer coming back. Right, Larry, with all the the work that I didn't do today, but I still got that approval. Adrian, it's good for how many? You said 28 days?
It's locked in, and then past that, they can just reapply and see their updated numbers anytime.
Larry, I could see them coming back. So you're right. That's an unintended consequence. And again, look at all the work that dealerships can pick up. And what most importantly, Chris, is look at all the good that you're doing for your consumer as well by having these tools available to them.
They love the flexibility.
I love it.
Retention levels are so important today, and having that bridge to come back and get them to retain under the brand that they felt most comfortable and delivered, and important. Ease of use, but importance. it's vital. And I think this is where we're headed. And we're
It
excited
is.
about this partnership, guys.
It's a
Thank
game.
you for taking
It's
the
a
time.
It's a game changer, Adrian. It is a true game changer. Okay, if our audience watching now, including dealers, managers, and service advisors, want to start putting this together in their dealerships, Adrian and Kurt, how do they reach out to you? What's the next step?
Well, for us, it's pretty simple. Just head over to sunbit.com/auto, or just head to our website, request a demo. It's super simple to check out and roll out.
The beauty is we can get access also on UpdatePromise as well. They can access UpdatePromise, get enrolled, get signed up, and simultaneously part of that process, they can sign up for Sunbit if they don't have it already. So we're
That's nice.
really the two companies coming together to make it simple and easy so they can start executing right away.
I love it. And I know you gentlemen are also on social media, so very easy to reach out to both of you. I want to thank Larry so much for your time today, Larry, and giving us a lot of the information. Great information. Thank you. Chris, wow, just a wow, okay, with what you're doing there. And congratulations on that facility. I got to come by downtown LA and see it. I want to see those bays. I want to see that 5-story store. I can't wait to come see that. So congratulations to both of you. Adrian at Sunbit, congratulations on putting this together. And Kurt, again, another stroke of genius by putting this whole thing together. Kurt Nixon at UpdatePromise. Everybody, Adrian at Sunbit, Curtis Nixon at UpdatePromise, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks so much, Ted.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.